Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the likely to be finales of Lit in English Season 3, because this is a very special season. In this season, we are going over the last of the three semantic reference system, and those are the human structure, and this is This is arguably the most important one in the three semantic reference system, because after we have learned about the root formula and the triangle of reality, we realize that the energy part of the triangle is very, very important in order to materialize the reality that we want. And out of the three semantic references, the human structure is positioned right at where the energy is. And yeah, that's gonna be very, very exciting for this finale episode. And I will I will try my best to to hit to the important point, but there are just so many things that I would love to share. However, we do need to stick to our plan of the 12 days. And once again, thank you so much for joining us in this journey. This has been a very enjoyable time, and I think after this season 3, we going to need to make some adjustment, because I'm going to need to make time for the final, and in the beginning of next month, March of 2023, I will be traveling, and I will be busy for the entire month. Therefore, I will not be able to host this Zoom call every single day like what we have been doing. But instead, what I can promise to you is that I will continue doing this when I can. And I will explore topic that that is built on top of the four principles and the three semantic reference systems. And I think we will have a lot of fun. And soon we will go back to the 12 days format. We might even increase it to 15. But we has been very, very successful at following our goal, which is sharing these amazing knowledge in English. And this literally make it possible for us to spread these amazing knowledge in English, and we will definitely will share it to every corner of the world, because that is how important this is. All right, so let's get right to it, because we we have a lot of material that we need to get to. So just a quick recap on what we did yesterday. Yesterday we introduced the human structure, and we spent a lot of our time drawing and introducing and define the information in this drawing. And again, this is the information that we borrow from a religious point of view. But to me personally, I view this as ancient knowledge. This is something that was passed down from thousands and thousands of years ago. And this, to me, give a very clear description of the human structure and more. And one of my mentors told me that, you know what, we human, we have spent so much time to learn art, to learn about physics, about science, but wouldn't it be better or more powerful if we spend some time study human behavior, study the human ourselves, because we every day in our life we have to interact with other human being. Every decision that we make, everything that we are getting and giving, it is all related to human. And I has been going on a journey to learn it, and I explore psychology, philosophy, and let me tell you this: there is nothing out there that is as powerful as the one page that we are presented with here on the human structure, because we are able to see the entire thing, the entire information based on one piece of paper. But we are going to be more focused today compared to yesterday. We are going to dive deeper in the 16 human character, which are admission, imagination, action, and conscience. And then the second circle just right outside of it, which are the prosperity, beauty, fame, luscious, and rest. And the outer mode, which are greed, anger, delusion, arrogance, skeptic, evil, and bias. But before we do that, let's just do a quick recap on the description of the human structure. So for the human structure, at the very core of it, at the very center, we have essence. What essence means is like an essence of something. So we are human, so we can, the essence of human is what created the human ourselves. Or let's say if you want to, we can ask the question, what is the essence of the earth, for example? So that would be the very core of the earth. So that is its essence, and many other things. So the essence is the core value of something. But this is more unique and it is more special in it, because for the essence, as we have introduced in the group formula, at the very, very core of images, we also have the hearing, seeing, saying, knowing. And through the human structure, we realize that essential hearing is very special. Essential seeing is very special as well. Essential saying and essential knowing. Those are very special, and those are very unique to compare to just regular hearing, seeing, saying, and knowing. And those surrounded by the radiant energy. Radiant energies are like the energy of light, like the sunlight. And it is very balanced, it's very pure. And it is pretty much timeless. And the energy from the radiant energy are very extremely high, and at the same time it is very balanced compared to the electromagnetic energy of yin yang out here, right? And we will go back to this. So yesterday we mentioned the importance of the circle of prosperity, beauty, fame, luxury, and rest. And we said that just on these five, if we can understand and apply prosperity, beauty, fame, luxury, and rest, we will be able to achieve many success when it's come to finance, because the desire of us human beings are toward prosperity, beauty, fame, luxus, and rest. And if we can just provide this to everyone around us, we will be able to generate a lot of value, and that has a huge impact on finances. And today we are going to uh, discover, or we are going to expand the information of the outermost circle of the human character, which are greed, anger, delusion, arrogant, skeptic, evil, and bias. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. And this is the time when I would like to invite you to grab a piece of paper. All right. And I would like to let us draw a line almost at the middle. And right at the middle of that line, let's mark it. And on the left-hand side, we will draw the minus sign, represent for the negative. And on the right-hand side, let's write a plus sign, representing the positive. And this negative and positive is the representation of the electromagnetic energy of yin yang, which is negative electrical current and positive electrical currents. Because for the human structure, beside the elemental self or the elemental body, we also have a very interesting element, which is the electrical element in our body, which interestingly was not proven by science until the past couple hundreds of years. And when Nikola Tesla found out the utility of electricity, that literally changed our entire world. And 80% of his invention is built on top of electricity itself. And this information is dating back thousands and thousands of years ago. So this is extremely important for us to understand in order to utilize the information to benefit us in the way we live. All right, so let's get started. All right, so the very first character of us human is greed. So just right at the middle, we can use a black pen to write the word greed. So greed by itself is kind of negative, because when we think of greed, we often think about greedy. So let's write the word greedy on the left-hand side at the negative column. All right. So greedy, what does greedy mean? Greedy is meaning that you want something for yourself. When you have the desire to own something, or you want something for yourself, then that would be the character of a greedy person. But what about being greedy for others? What if you want something good for others? For example, as parent, we would want good thing for our children. We would do everything we can to ensure that they have everything that they need. And that is a character of greed too, but that would lean more toward the positive side of it. So instead of greedy, what we have is generous. So I would like to invite you to write down the word generous. And then the next character would be anger. Do you think anger is common? I think so. Because when we talk about emotion or human character, anger often comes up because that is one of our very basic emotion. And similar to greed, anger by itself, it might sound very negative, but just anger by the pure meaning as a character, it is not negative or positive. When we lean more toward the negative side of anger, we would be more furious. We would want to do something about it. And when you see like a furious person, that person might pose as a threat. And that would be very, very negative when you see it, when you feel it. However, there is a type of of anger that bring out positive feeling or positive energy, and that would be glad. So instead of someone feeling furious, they can be glad, they can be at peace with themselves. So anger by itself, it's just a character. We need to analyze, we need to see if it is leaning toward the negative side or is it leaning toward the positive side of the spectrum. And similarly, we have 7 characters here. So the third one will be delusion. So for delusion, that's the word purple. So delusion was something that I introduced yesterday, and I didn't want to go into too deep because I want to present it here. So delusion, for the negative side, that can be foolish. So foolish. And on the positive side, that would be wise. So the character delusion by itself, it might not have any meaning because delusion is just something that you have in your mind, but if that delusion is far from reality and is post a negative energy that can cause a negative situation, then that delusion is very foolish. So when you heard people say that, oh, that guy is very foolish, it means that whatever action that he is taking from his delusion causes him to be foolish because it is not good with reality. It was not a good a proper choice or behavior. But on the other spectrum of it, we have wise, as in when a person decide to behave in a certain way when they face a challenge because the way that they think, the delusion character is very aligned with the situation where they have a good react to the situation. Or another word that we are familiar with is the word proactive that I share in the principle of light. So a wise person would be a person who know how to react or how to prepare for a situation. But on the other spectrum, a foolish person would be a person who reacting badly to a situation. So not just reacting badly, reacting negatively, right? Because if there is a problem comes up, usually as human being, when we reacted to it, usually we have a plan. We know how to deal with it. But a foolish person would react to it in a very negative way. A wise person will react to it in a very wise way, a very smart way. And we can also call that proactive. So there are two spectrum of this. And you can also view this as the principle of light, where instead of focusing on darkness, focusing on get darkness out of the dark room, what we do is we bring light, we're being proactive, and we bring light to our dark room, and we turn the dark room into the light room. All right, so all of the principle and semantic reference system, they are interconnected. And this is why this is a journey for all of us to go together, so we will gain a deeper understanding of this. Okay, next one, arrogant. Arrogant. So the negative side of arrogant would be low self-esteem. And the positive side of it is high self-esteem. And I have a big debate with myself on this, because I was gonna use the words like self-esteem to the middle, but arrogant is a more accurate translation. But then I have to introduce the definition of self-esteem as well. So what do I mean by low self-esteem? This is a word that often used in psychology. So self-esteem is how you view yourself, how you feel about yourself. A person with low self-esteem would be a person who negatively feel about themselves. They don't feel good enough about themselves, and they don't give themselves enough credit. So arrogant by itself is not having negative or positive. It is the low, and the high is something that I would like to demonstrate for this spectrum, because when the energy is low, then that's mean we're leaning more toward the negative. But when the energy is high, then that's mean we are leaning toward high self-esteem, as in feeling really good about ourselves. Mr. Donald Trump is one of the example about someone who had very high self-esteem. He's all about himself. It's always about Trump. When he built a skyscraper like the Trump Tower, he wanted to build the tallest building possible, and because of that, a lot of people don't like him. So if you live in the U.S., you would know that Mr. Trump was one of the U.S. president, and he was loved by many people. He is equally hated by many people. Some people love him because he have high self-esteem. They feel like he loves himself enough and he's confident enough to do what needed for the country. But at the same time, there are people who hated him because they think that he is all about himself. They think that he loved himself more than the country. He loved himself more than other, and he is not fit to be a president. And this is extremely important. So I would like you to focus on this one because arrogant by itself is a very neutral character. It is bad when we move toward the negative side of it. It is also bad when we leaning too much to the positive side of it. Because if you have low self-esteem, you don't have enough energy to do what's good for you. But if you have too high self-esteem, like Mr. Donald Trump, you don't get the support from others. And sometimes you don't have a clear path on what you need to do. Therefore, I want to emphasize that it is very important to be balanced, to have just enough of what we needed for the right situation. Okay, so we will go back to this, but let's move on to the next character, and that would be Skeptic. So Skeptic, for the low energy one, it would be doubting. When you are doubting someone else, someone ability. And on the other side, will be trusting. So it is very positive when you can trust people, when you find people who you can trust. But when you start doubting people, that means you started to go toward the negative emotion toward that person. And again, skeptic by itself, it is very neutral. And then we also have evil. All right. So when we hear the word evil, it might sound very negative, but as the character, it is not negative nor positive. The negative side of the evil character, that would be vicious, like a vicious person or a vicious animal that would just attacking others, causing damages. But on the positive side, that would be kind. All right. And I want to make the distinction here as well. And this is something very unique of the human structure. Because out there, people only talk about good and evil. And they make it sound like evil are all bad. But when I study like incredible, famous, and successful people in the world, I noticed that there are kindness among the evil, as in evil people. And I also find viciousness from what's so-called good people. Because there are times that I have worked in the restaurant business. And for everyone who have worked in the restaurant business before, you find all kind of people in the restaurant industry. You will find criminal there. You can find college student who just want to make extra money to pay for their tuition. And growing up, I I didn't intentionally hanging out with like gang or anything like that, but I realized that my friends who are in one, they are very kind to each other, even though they are doing bad things. But there's a positive side of it as well, where everyone treated one another like a real brother. There's a camaraderie, like some like real relationships, and there's some real kindness in there. But then when you look at enforcement, there are some vicious element when they go out to fight evil, because you kind of have to use fire to fight fire. And we need to make a very, very sharp, very clear distinction between these two, because if we don't draw a very clear line, we might confuse between kindness and viciousness. And again, we're going to go into deep to this 7 character, because this is what directly influence not only our life but the society as a whole. Okay, so the very last one, that is bias. And the negative energy of bias is biased. And on the positive side is accepted. Biased, when it is on the negative spectrum or the low energy, that would be you having biased from for someone or something from other, as in you already make a decision on what kind of person that person is. For example, in reality, let's say Mr. Donald Trump, he's not that bad, but people who have biases toward him, they might say everything very, very negative about him, even though that might not be true, because they base on their biases, the way that they think. And this is also a little bit similar to the 6th barrier, where we have the limiting self-belief and we have like the fears of judgment. So those are kind of like the biases where we already predetermine the way that we think. So sometimes we even have like the biases to ourselves. As in the 6th barrier, we build the barrier and those stopping us from achieving what we really want. But on the other side of the bias is the accepted. So when we accept it, we accepting ourselves, we accepting what we are capable of, we accepting the fear of failure, for example. So accepting it doesn't mean that you get into it. Like you know it is there, and you can make the decision to not letting it affecting you. Because let's say the people who really have the fear of failure, they don't want to face it. They don't want to face that barrier. And in turn, that barrier stopping them from getting to what they want. All right. So I have spent a tons of time on these 7 characters, because these 7 characters are extremely, extremely important for our realization and how we move in this world. Because what we truly want is being balanced. because being balanced can help solve many, many things. And in order to demonstrate what this is, I would like to tell the story of the old man and the sons again. And I know I have told this many times in the past, but this is one of the ancient story that has so much lesson in there. So the story of the old man and the son started with an old man and his son who live in a very small village, and they only have a small land and a horse. In their village, they don't have that many people, but because um, they live in such a small town, everyone kind of have to learn how to support each other through difficult time. And usually people would celebrating their success. And because of that, they was able to live a very good life. And the old man and his son, they don't need much. They happy. They are competent with their life. And the old man loved his son, and the son in turn loved his father, and he would do everything to help take care of the old man to bring food to the table. And one day, for some reason, the horses that they have, which is the equivalent of their entire net worth when it's come to money, the horse ran away, and the uh, the neighbor heard of the news, and the neighbor quickly come over to pretty much tell how sorry they are if there's anything that they can help with the situation, because the old man and his son relies on the horse to help with their farming, and that is such a bad luck that the horse ran away, they told the old man. But strangely enough, the gentle old man was not upset. He explained to his neighbor that losing the horse wasn't necessarily a bad luck, and there wasn't any way to predict that that would happen. There's no reason to be upset, said the old man. And the neighbor soon realized that there's nothing that they could do to help get the horse back, and that they shouldn't feel sad for the old man's misfortune. And 1 week later, the horse came back, and he brought with him another horse. And it's not just any average horse, it is a beautiful white fur, super strong, super rare breed of horse. And it is very, very valuable. And when the neighbor heard of the old man, good luck, they quickly came over to congratulate him. But then the old man, he wasn't excited. He explained to the neighbor, as he did before, that this was not necessarily good luck, and there's no reason to get too excited over it. And all the neighbor was so puzzled, they don't know what to say to the old man anymore. They thought that the old man has gone crazy. So they all left as quickly as they had come. And then the short time later, because the wise horse couldn't do anything without some proper training, therefore the old man had to train the horse and get the horse to do things to help him with the farm work. But unfortunately, the son fell and broke his leg, and that accident was so bad that he cannot really do anything much to help with the farm work anymore. And the neighbor, again, they heard of that, and they came over to give their symphony for the old man misfortune. And they couldn't imagine if there's anything worse could happen than this, because the old man relied on his son to do the farm work, and now instead of having his son helping him, he's now have to take care of his son. But however, the old man didn't let that bother him. He explained to his neighbor that they shouldn't feel sorrow for him, nor his son, nor having any anger toward the horse. He explained that it was simply an accident and there was nothing that he or they could do to change it. And the neighbor, again, they left as quickly as they come. 2 months after that, while the son is still recovering from his broken leg, the neighboring country raised war, and all of the young men in that small village were drafted to defend the country. They have to go to war. They have to defend themselves against the attack. And because the old man's son had a broken leg that was recovering, he couldn't go. And for all of the young men who went to the war, they didn't come back. And the neighbor complaining and kind of congratulating the old man of how lucky he was because he still have his son with him. And when the son recover, the old man would be the only person in the village who had his son taken care of him, has someone who live the remaining of his life with. And the old man said that it is okay. It is not necessarily to be a good luck nor the bad luck. He just thankful that he is having the thing that he is having. And that is the end of the story. And the moral of the story, when I first read it, it was about how life is, of how when bad thing happen to us, we shouldn't feel sorry for ourselves, because good thing will come. And when good thing come, we shouldn't celebrate too early, because the way life works is that we constantly receiving lesson. Good or bad is all about our attitude toward it. And just like the case of the old man, as soon as the new horse come, soon after that, the son broke his leg. But then because of that, the son was able to be saved from having go to the war. And that very story fit very much into the piece of paper that I have here. The way that most people live are like the neighbors. They get excited over things and they get sad because of other. And because of their emotion, they simply get drawn into what destiny has planned for them. It was all about action and reaction. It was all about cause and effect. But in the case of the old man, he was wise. He was wise instead of foolish. He was generous instead of greedy. He was glad instead of furious. He accepted instead of biased. He trusting instead of doubting. He had high self-esteem instead of lower self-esteem. And most importantly, when bad thing happen, he know how to be balanced. When the horse ran away, he has every reason to be furious based on his anger character, but he didn't do so. He chose to be calm. He chose to be balanced. He didn't even try to go to a glass. He just wanted to be balanced. And imagine if something like that happened to us, instead of losing the horse, which is the old man's entire net worth. That's all that he had. Imagine if for some reason all of our wealth just disappear, right? All of the money in our bank just disappear. Wouldn't we be furious? I see that all the time. And not only furious, okay, as soon as the person give in to their emotion, this furious become foolish. This furious become low self-esteem. This furious become doubting, become vicious, become biases, become greedy. And it's activated all 7 of this character. And this thing draw you to a very, very negative, very vicious cycle. And this is shown throughout history, whether you are just an average person or you were a king, whether you have to deal with something small, like you're like cleaning a house, or as big as go into war with other country, or how to handle invasion from another country. And it is extremely important, just like the case of the old man, to be balanced in life. And this is a very, very important principle, very important application, that if we can just apply this, then we will know how to deal with the 4 pillars of life, which are the inner self, health, relationship, and finance. And if you could just be balanced, okay? And this is very, very special. Remember when we talk about light and darkness, how one thing exists and the other cannot. When you have light, there is no darkness. When you don't have light, then there is darkness. Be in balance. Be in balance is a very special space where darkness does not exist. And there might not be even light. It is very, very unique in itself. And the invention of zero is a very, very unique one. The invention of zero is what helped us develop, because through the invention of zero, we have many, many other things. Just like counting, for example, right? We can count to 9, or we can count to 10, but beyond that, without zero, it would be not comprehensible. Was actually writing 8. But understanding the human character and the importance of being balanced, we will be able to avoid many, many problems in life. And if you look through history, you will find this to be true. Because I have seen so many similar story where people who are in power in the past, they give in to greedy, and they trying to get more than they deserve, and they ended up losing everything. Let's say one country trying to evade another country. they might do well at first, but throughout the time they have to pay for it. What about furious? Same thing. If you were being furious about something, if you decided to be vicious of a situation, then a lot of people ended up hurting themselves. A foolish action would cause harm as well. And when you start doubting about something, it always leads into other negative category on the left-hand side here. So when you can sense negative energy, the electromagnetic energy of yin yang from the human structure right here. Once we understand this, we can shift it to balance, just like the old man, and we can lean toward positivities. And when we are able to do that, we will be able to attract good things to us, just like the old man. Instead of feeling bad about the horse running away, instead of being furious, he moved to the balance, and then he moved to a glad. He moved to a generous, and he was able to attract other things, to high self-esteem, to trusting that everything will work out. He chose to be kind to his son, to forgiving his son for potentially making the horse running away. He accepted the fact that the son may fell off the horse and not able to work to help him with the farming work. And because he was able to lean into the positive side, the positive energy, he was able to receive a lot of blessing. He was able to totally take control back of his life. He was able to be more proactive rather than reactive. And this is just one of the many applications of the human structure. And if you can just simply apply what we wrote here, you can completely change your life. Because through the exercising of the balance, being balanced and leaning toward the positive energy, you will be able to materialize what you wanted, or at least the world will magically work itself in a way to providing you a more favorable outcome just by applying this. And on that note, I would like to invite you to be balanced. I want to invite you to be wise rather than foolish. And there's a concept of present, past, and future. What I have realized from the understanding your inner self and through the 4 principle and the 3 semantic reference system, and thanks to the community, thanks to the opportunity to share in this knowledge, I becoming more aware of my past, where I was imbalanced, where I still give in to greedy, to furious, to foolish. There are times that I feel bad about myself, where I have low self-esteem, where I have my doubt, where I might have even been vicious and biases toward others. But those are in the past now. I have learned to to be balanced in the present. And being balanced in the present, I get to choose how my future will look like. I get to choose to leaning more toward the future where I can be generous, where I can be glad, where I can be wise, where I can have high self-esteem so I can feel good about myself. The future where I can trust other, where I can be kind to other, and where I can accept other. And this is very, very powerful because you can choose it. But when you choose it, you have to look back to the story of the old man, because fate, because life, they often treated us like a chicken egg. Remember the chicken egg from the sixth barrier? Because the forces, when it's making impact from the outside in, it's treating us like food. But if the forces come from the inside out, that means we giving ourselves life. We're giving ourselves the transformation. And the application of the human structure, just one of it, one of the many, is that we can choose. We can choose to have the impact from the inside out. We are more aware of what we have learned, so we can choose to be wise. We can choose to activate the 7 out of 16 human character, and we can choose to lean more toward positive. And again, the important key is when you decide to lean toward one, it doesn't matter if it was accepted, kind, trusting, high self-esteem, wise, glad, or generous. It will slowly activate the other 6. Similarly, if we give into the negative energy, and this can start at any of this, unless you greedy, for example, it will kickstart furious, it will kickstart foolish, it will kick out low self-esteem, doubting, vicious biases. And that will generate a very ugly reality. And the human structure is very, very amazing. It is the energy needed to materialize many, many things. And if you can look back to the triangle of reality through the 7 holistic wealth, we will be able to materialize the holistic life. It will be easier for us to materialize the success that we desire. But at the very core of it, it is all about the human structure. It is all about the energy. And we have to learn to master the energy. And I know we're running out of time, but looking at this human structure here, it's give us a lot of hope. Because thanks to the guru, the teacher, our mentor, we were told that we are very special. The human essence is something very, very powerful with the radiant energy, with this extremely high frequency of energy. If we know how to utilize it, we will be able to balance it out, we will be able to avoid the negative influences of fate. Just like the old man in the story, we have the ability to draw the energy from deep within us to avoid getting pulled toward the negative energy. And once we balance, we can choose to go toward the positive side. And all of it is possible thanks to the admission, imagination, action, and conscience, where we learn to be more balanced. And there is a very important information that I would like to share with you today before we go. And this is the finale, guys. I'm going to have more Zoom presentation, but it's going to be a while until we going back to the 12-day program. But what we are getting out of this is that just like the old man, we can get to choose. We can choose to be balanced. We can choose to avoid getting drawn by the human character. We can avoid getting pulled to the negative side, because deep within us, we can be balanced. We can go to that emptiness. We can go to the essence of us instead of being greedy, furious, foolish, low self-esteem, instead of doubting, vicious bias. We will learn to activate the radiant energy, which is an extremely high frequency, and we will be able to have a deeper understanding of ourselves and the people around us. And in the near future, we will dive in much deeper into this. Well, this is gonna be the end of season 3. So I know that we are at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time and 9 a.m. in Vietnam. But if you have any question, or if you have anything that you would like to share in the human structure, I would like to invite you to share, because together we might be able to understand this a little bit better. And don't feel bad if you have a question that you want to ask, because I'm free this evening. So I do see Paula raise her hand first. So please unmute yourself.
Hi everyone. Hi Ben. Thank you very much. I'm still trying to learn English, like from Vietnamese converts to English, and basically I knew that the knowledge is very valuable, and we are all trying to study, and we can spread the value to the world. And I can see that when you say we choose, like we in the middle, the balance, the zeros, and we choose move up to the positive side rather than negative side. But for me, how we can learn to be the natural, we are always on the positive side, right? Because sometimes that we in the situation, the problem, we can be on the positive side naturally, and we don't have to think, okay, I'm not angry, or I need to be kind to something that happened. So that I really want to learn how to be like naturally be positive rather than I have to choose. So that I think that the long way I can achieve that, but that's I have image in my mind that I would be that kind of person. People can look at me like a positive person, so they can be near me. They want to listen to me, something like that. I want to share that, and I wish you all can be a positive side more of the time at the moment. And then we always be on the positive side. Like my little girl, like Lily, she created the song. That's one. I'm a positive side of the world. That's what she say, and I'm
Aw,
very amazed how she can apply for the like the light and the darkness that way. Thank you very much for listening, and I'm trying to learn a lot from you, Ben.
yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing. And your English is very good. And the environment that we created here is exactly for that, because once we communicate, we will gain more better skill. And through your questioning, it will help me understanding the information better as well, and other will be able to learn it as well. And the question that you asked just now, extremely important. And this is something that I would like to get more when we presenting this information more in the future. And I can guarantee you that the more we do in this, the better that we understand this. So your question, I would like to break it into two parts, and I would like to comment you on the positive side. It is extremely important to have the positive outlook in life, because we know that that is how we will be able to attract the favorable outcome to us. However, it is also important to understand others when they feel negatively, because if we are just happy all the time, then we might not be able to connect with our loved one when they feeling sad. Therefore, the human structure, it it is very amazing, because it will be able to show us and guide us in many situations. And if you look back to the story of the old man and his son, in the story, the villager, the neighbor, go to him to to kind of like make sure that he is okay. And when they think that he is sad, they are there to support him. And when they think he should be happy because he was gaining something tremendous, they might think that he would be very happy about it. But it was the old man who was able to help the villager or his neighbor not feeling sad for him, and in turn their life might be better as a whole. Therefore, yes, it is important that we lean more toward the positive side, but at the same time, sometimes we have to understand the negative side as well. That way we can maintain the relationship with other, especially the people around us when they needed help, because they would want our understanding so we can comfort them. Because remember, when the villager come to the old man and trying to comfort him, but he wasn't accepting it. He told everyone that it is okay. I am okay. You don't have to worry too much about me. And the villager, the neighbor, they are puzzled and they just walk away. But because it is a very small village, they learn how to continue that relationship because they needing each other to survive. So yes, as a person, we will learn how to be balanced, and we'll learn how to leaning more toward the positive side. But as we have a deeper understanding of the human structure, we will learn to be balanced. And when I said balance, it's not necessarily to be complete zero. It's not about like just emptiness. Even though, yes, that is good, but the people who achieve like enlightenment, and when they reach that balance, usually they just hide up in the mountain and they don't want to deal with the society, which is fine. But for us who have the desire to do well in this world. As in, let's say for me, I want to be becoming a millionaire. And I realized through the human structure that I will need to build relationship with others. I need to find people who have the right desire to help me with my journey. And through the human structure as a whole, I will know how to work with others. I will know how to develop people. And I have to be flexible between these. And similarly, yesterday I mentioned about the prosperity, beauty, fame, luxury, and rest. If we decided to go into business, then we can provide people the value of prosperity, beauty, fame, luxury, and rest. And that will help bring us prosperity, bringing up money. So yes, your question is very important. We have to learn to lean in toward the positive side. That is absolutely right. But at the same time, we need to understand the other side as well. And the way that we can be more positive, we are going to use the 4 principles. The first one is the principle of light, light up inside so that darkness will disappear. We give in ourselves life. We learn to be proactive, and doing that, we will lean in more the positive. And similarly for principle number 2, the principle number 2 is activating of the human brain. If I can find it here. So this is how we can activate, we can lean more the positive side as well, because the reptilian brain operate on fear, the mammalian brain operate on love, but the human brain, we have future vision, and we know how to live in the future. We know how to draw this positive energy. And for number 3, when we expand our knowledge, just like what we are doing, we will be able to lean in more toward the positive side. And for number 4, similarly, the transformation. This is the principle that can help us make a transformation from what we might be very negative in the past to the transformation where we can be more positive in the future. And this simple method here from the human structure, this is actually the formula that you can use to materialize anything you want in life, okay? Whether it is having a successful career or having an ideal school for your children. All we have to do is be in balance. And then we lean in more toward positive, and we will be able to materialize the positive energy, as in the success, the result that are desirable to us. And all of this is influenced by the 4 principle. And even though we went through these very quickly, but if we can just utilize the 4 principle and having the understanding of the 3 semantic system, reference system, we will be able to accomplish many things. And sorry for a really long answer, but for some reason, it helped me connect the 4 principle with the human structure and the 3 semantic reference system. And I truly appreciate this great knowledge a lot.
Thank you, Ben.
Yeah, thank you. And earlier I saw Dawn raise her hand as well. So I don't know if it's convenient to comment now, because I know sometimes like we just busy taking care of other things. But yeah, the human structure is the largest and the most complex information, and I think it would take like an extra 10 days to really go deep in detail. and we will eventually get there. It's just we gotta stick to our plan on the 12 days, and we need to have a better translation of some of the keyword to English. But I would highly recommend everyone continuing to follow us on the on Telegram, and we will let you know when we will host the next topic. And from here on out, it will have a lot of connection to the three semantic reference system and the application of how to get the result that you want, just like a Paula question. So, all right. So, yeah, thank you everyone for joining us. Like usual, let's go out with a song, and I really appreciate your presence here. Thank you for joining the journey with us, and I will see you around. All right, thank you.